The message that we have transcends all demographics. It's an American message. Then when people start talking about middle class, this is what you tell them very simply. Tell them America is not about class. America is not about caste. America is not about where you come from or where you were born. Does not determine your station later on in life. America is about equal opportunity. America is not about equal achievement. America is not about people that sit back and they become the ones that decide the outcomes and the results for your life. When you start to hear people in America talking about fair share, fairness, and economic equality, that goes against every single fiber of what this nation is about.
Now, just as there was in Teddy Roosevelt's time, there is a certain crowd in Washington who for the last few decades have said, let's respond to this economic challenge with the same old tune. The market will take care of everything, they tell us. If we just cut more regulations and cut more taxes, especially for the wealthy, our economy will grow stronger. But here's the problem. It doesn't work. It has never worked.
And I think that if you would take the time to study the political spectrum of ideologies, you would understand that at the turn of the century, American communists renamed themselves as progressives.
Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we had that allowed you to thrive.
If you study the Woodrow Wilson administration, people refer to the Woodrow Wilson administration as a progressive administration. Now, what I would hope that people would do in the media is maybe you should do a little research.
And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing.
And start looking at what political ideologies are, what they stand for. There's a very thin line between communism, progressivism, Marxism, socialism, or even, as Mark Levin has said, statism.
Would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
About this. And I welcome anyone to have a discussion and a debate about political ideology.
If you got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Because when you look at what is happening in this country right now, you tell me that this government is not nationalizing production. Automobile industry, financial sector, healthcare, cap and trade did not go through the legislative process. Look what they're doing through the EPA as far as the energy sector. Look at what's happening with the National Labor Relations Board. Who would have ever thought that we'd live in the United States of America where the federal government would be telling a private sector organization where they could relocate?
I think the trick is figuring out how do we structure government systems that pool resources and hence facilitate some redistribution, because I actually believe in redistribution.
These are individuals that voted against having a balanced budget amendment, but yet they wanted to have a constitutional amendment so that they could redistribute wealth. I don't know if that's in keeping in your version of a constitutional republic, but you know, when I went through my studies, it surely was not. So
The continuing patterns of inequality that permeate not just Chicago, but New York City and other areas, I think is the biggest challenge, as Jeremy indicated, to sustaining this recovery.
Okay, as of 27 March, we had 46 million people on food stamps. On Inauguration Day, we had 32 million. That's a 45% increase. Americans in poverty on Inauguration Day, 39.8. Today, as of 27 March, 46.2. That's a 6.4 million increase. That's what I'm talking about, creating, expanding a welfare state.
So the only cases in recorded history are where they have had capitalism and largely free trade. If you want to know where the masses are worst off, it's exactly in the kinds of societies that depart from that. So that the record of history is absolutely crystal clear that there is no alternative way so far discovered of improving the lot of the ordinary people that can hold a candle to the productive activities that are unleashed by a free enterprise system.
So folks, do your research. Understand these ideologies. And this is a choice between two very clear futures for the United States of America. And I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to be afraid about the fact that I call a spade a spade.
If you'll pardon me, do you think American presidents reward virtue? Do they choose their appointees on the basis of the virtue of the people appointed or on the basis of their political clout? Is it really true that political self-interest is nobler somehow than economic self-interest? You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. And just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us.
Talk about people that came from Europe and all over the world to the United States of America with one hope and one dream. And they built this nation. That's America. That's why we're better than the other side. And that's why we scare the hell out of them. And you got to be relentless, and you cannot back down in saying that what you are and who you are, and you say taxed enough already, that goes back to what happened some 200 some odd plus years ago when some simple Americans stood up and said, we have a different vision. We have a vision of a place where the individual and their rights and freedoms will be respected. We have a vision of a place where liberty, freedom will reign supreme and superior. We have a vision of a place where wherever you want to be and wherever you want to go, no one's going to hold you back. No one's going to constrain you. That's America.